So we all know that the SBIR and STTR programs focus on innovation and commercialization. And commercialization is pretty easy to define. What you're creating has to have the potential to be a product people want to and will purchase, and be something you can collect enough revenues to grow your company. But what's innovation? That's usually one of the big sticking points when it comes to deciding whether you have something that's SBIR worthy. I mean, it should be easy, right? It's just doing something different for increased outcomes or performance. Whether you're making an algorithm that provides more realistic traffic flow and monitoring data so that people can get home earlier, or maybe you're creating a new type of wheat strain that is naturally gluten-free, can be grown with a fraction of the water, and can withstand aphid infestations. Simply making a new pen that will work in reduced gravity situations so astronauts can take notes. All of those are innovative and therefore drive innovation. Now the big question comes into play: are these examples SBIR worthy? And the answer is a resounding and resolute potentially. You see, it really depends on the differentiator when it comes to innovation and these programs. After all, if someone can already buy something just like what you're making, then why wouldn't they? Is this something that's incrementally better? Are you just slightly different from the norm or the status quo? If yes, then you're really not innovative by the SBIR and STTR standards. Though what defines innovation can differ slightly between agencies, there is at least one constant, and that's it has to be unique versus what's available and has to be facing some sort of technical challenge. Technical challenge, not technology challenge. It's one mistake a lot of people make. They think unless they're creating something that looks like it fell out of a sci-fi novel, then they don't have an innovation. And that's false. There are plenty of examples of funding that went towards something that's low-tech. Natural planting pots made from cow manure, tools for PTSD sufferers to create comics and graphic novels about their experiences. These are both actually funded projects. You don't have to be splitting the laws that rule the foundation of our universe to get funded. You simply have to be facing a challenge in product feasibility that needs some research and development. Now that we established that, let's actually dive into a couple of other issues with defining innovation through the SBIR lens. First, we just kind of covered, but not really. That is the problem with something needing research. A lot of people hear research and think pocket protectors, taped glasses, lab coats, nerds. And sure, that's research. But just because you're not mixing chemicals together in a beaker then putting them on a Bunsen burner doesn't mean you're not doing research. But soft sciences are also research. Maybe you're creating a new type of educational app for students with learning disabilities, so you need to do hands-on exercise and surveys. Or maybe you're creating a new type of research paper distribution platform and you need to see how people do information acceptance and where they'd like common elements to be deployed on the screen. Those are both very valid research projects. Just because it's a social science or inner psychology doesn't mean it's not research and development. Let's pick up a train of thought real quick on technical challenge. Again, one mistake a lot of people make is conflating technical challenge with technology challenge. Can a technology challenge be a technical challenge? Almost always is. But does a technical challenge have to be a technology challenge? Nope. And likely isn't to boot. Technology challenge means the state of development in science just hasn't gotten there. Think something like Star Trek. Do we have sublight speed hyperdrives? Nope. Food replicators for tea, Earl Grey, hot? Nope. Can we get there within a year with a little bit of know-how? Nope. We face large discovery and advancement challenges to get us there. So, technical challenge doesn't have to be tied to technology. It simply means that you have an issue that you need to do some research and discovery on. It also doesn't need to be hard science. Again, you need to go out and survey a random sampling of people on data insurance and information acceptance. That's still science. It's research. So when you hear technical challenge, don't just assume super technology from the future. Now back to the topic at hand. I did say that innovation can vary slightly depending on the agency, but should have said it will vary greatly depending on the agency. If you're looking at NSF, they have some pretty broad criteria for what they consider innovation. Revolutionary and disruptive. But they don't consider innovation. Incremental evolution, integration or engineering problems. That seems pretty cut and dry, right? All agencies follow that same tune, right? So USDA wants ideas that are revolutionary as well, but they do look at engineering solutions. They even have 2 topic areas that deal with impact-driven ideas rather than innovation-driven ideas: rural and community development and small and mid-sized farms. You can bring in a developed solution that can be tailored towards one of those audiences to show you can make their lives better, easier, stronger, whatever. So different agencies define innovation differently. Keep that in mind. 2 last points here. First, something to keep in mind when you're thinking about the potential for SBIR and STTR in your innovative idea is that you don't want to miss the forest for the trees. I've had a lot of conversations with people where they say, I have this thing and it solves this one very specific problem and does this specific thing and it's for this one specific group. To be frank, it's kind of the exact backwards way you want to do this. Now I can hear the cries already, but we have to have an idea of the product, the impact, the advantage, the pain point, yada, yada, yada. And that's true. You do. But that's when you're creating the proposal. Before you get to that step, you need to step back and think about your idea. Yes, it could solve that specific problem and be interesting to that specific audience. But how's it solving the problem? What processes are getting created to solve the problem? What kind of integration tools or layers are you developing to make it easier to implement? If you take it slightly, can it be used in other areas or domains of practice? Can you start out with it as a platform and then focus towards specific use cases and areas? These are all questions we really do want to think about because you might have innovation nested within innovation. Can you get multiple awards? Can you have component technologies that each have their own use case, their own problem, and their own funding pathway? Don't cut yourself short and keep an open mind when you're thinking about these programs. Make use of all the opportunities in front of you. Now, dovetailing into using all your available opportunities and keeping an open mind, let's talk about agency crossover. That's another common mistake people have when they approach these programs. Going by those examples before, you might have figured out what your innovation is all about and the different realms that it plays into. You might have recognized, for example, that your mass fusion technology for a clean energy future is of paramount importance to someone like Department of Energy. And that's a good start, but is DOE the only agency that would fund it? Depends. And key issues that pretty much every agency will fund are some key issues that are a handful of agencies will be interested in. And there's some things that only a couple of agencies might fund. There's pretty much no innovation that is only applicable to a single agency. It's more about intent and impact here than it is about the agency, the innovation, and the domain. Let's jump back to energy. Say you developed a small-scale fusion reactor that worked off a household refuse to power a vehicle. I know, Doc, bear with me here. Now, it's an energy technology and a clean one at that, so DOE. However, it also deals with high levels of science and development, so NSF's probably interested too, because NSF's a good fallback for any idea and innovation. They have the broadest swath, but that's surface level. Let's go a little deeper. So technology for vehicles to run off of refuse. That should have environmental impacts since we're lessening carbon footprint and reducing landfills. EPA probably be interested in that. But wait, is this vehicle mounted? Can it be adapted to any vehicle? You know, there's an agency that fields a lot of vehicles across the entire world and they might be interested. Yeah. DoD could be possible. Let's go a step deeper though. Could refuse materials power that fuel source? What kind of refuse materials? Could it be an industrial crop? Could it be a bio-based fuel? Well, USDA might be interested. You see, it's not really about knowing that agency or their research priorities. It's about figuring out your goals, your impacts, and what drives you, and then match that to the agency's strategic plan. It's how you start thinking about innovation. And that was a bit of an insight into innovation and how that word plays differently with the SBIR and STTR programs. As always, if you have further questions on this, moving your idea to the commercial market, any of these areas, shoot us a quick email or sign up for one of our monthly office hour sessions. We'd love to talk to each and every one of you about these great programs. Thanks for watching.